And I hear my parents talking. They're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Do we go back to Korea? Do we stay in the US? I can see how exhausting it can be because after being punched constantly, like your revenue's going down, people, all you're getting are hate DMs and like, oh my gosh, your content isn't hitting anymore. You're thinking like, dude, like I've fallen off. You guys haven't worked a day in recruiting. How the fuck can you guys help anyone find a job? So there was a lot of criticism. And for us, we were like, oh my gosh, wait, is there validity to what they're saying? What keeps me going is that there's truly nothing else I'd rather be doing.
Well, welcome back to the Subtext. I'm your host, Trey.
And I'm your other host, Daniel. And today we have
Jerry. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey.
We're hyped. And despite him having food poisoning, unfortunately, we're still rolling. So thank you again for hopping on the pod. We really do appreciate it.
I'm good for the next 60 minutes. And after that, I gotta run.
Amount of time.
Okay, good.
So to give the audience a little bit more context about you, headline wise, you're Forbes 30 under 30. You're the co-founder of Wonsulting. You've done a lot of amazing things. But I feel like a lot of people can get a little bit misled by all these things that they see about you because your story behind all these things is that you came from an immigrant family and, not from the wealthiest background. If you wanted to give us a little bit more context, kind of like the formative experiences or like the background that someone would need to know about you to kind of understand who you are today, just take us off.
Wow, we're going in deep. That's crazy. Okay. So I think there's one, I was actually talking to my therapist about this, and there's one memory that stands out to me. I think I was maybe in about third grade, and I woke up in the middle of the night to my parents arguing. And so we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment where it was the living room and kitchen, the hallway, bedroom 1 and bedroom 2. And I remember seeing my parents, and then I remember coming out of my bedroom, the door to the living room and kitchen was closed. And so I saw the light come in from the bottom. And I hear my parents talking. They're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Do we go back to Korea? Do we stay in the US? And my parents were talking back and forth, and I was sort of in the back behind the door listening, thinking, dude, I wish there was something I could do. I wish I was older. I wish there was a way for me to help. And I think for me, the thing that I still remember from that moment was my dad was saying, well, we have to do this for John and Jerry. John is my brother. And for me, that was incredibly formative because that memory just showed me the resilience of my parents, and my parents were willing to throw everything to make it work for me and my brother, to even have a shot at this thing called the American dream. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, that really instilled this level of like hard work, and I'm going to work harder than everyone else. And that type of mentality, I think, really pushed me through a lot of the ups and downs, I think.
It's crazy to see kind of like the success you've kind of cultivated and through so many different outlets, like Daniel mentioned.
We're trying, man. We're trying.
One of which is Wonsulting. I mean, when someone hears that, I'm just kind of curious for the people who are listening in, what is Wonsulting? How does that even come to be?
I think Wonsulting for me is what I wish I had when I was in college. I came into college 18, not knowing a single thing. I didn't even know what an internship was. I remember freshman year, I heard a kid running down the hall being like, I got an internship. And like everyone came out of the doors being like, oh my God, congrats. Oh shit. All right, we pull out the name. Congrats. Like what happened? Like what, and for me, I was just like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is an internship?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she was talking about, I get to go work at the summer. I'm so excited. I get to go to Hong Kong. And I was like, oh, so where are you interning? And she's like, oh, I'm going to go to Goldman Sachs. I'm like, oh, I feel like that. And I'm like, never fucking heard of it.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Oh, really? Goldman?
Because at the time, like, I didn't know anything, right? I was a freshman. Like, I never heard of an internship. I don't know what like finance or consulting or like analytics. Like, all I knew was that I wanted to do business. And so for me, as I think about what Wonsulting means to me, it's damn, what do I wish that 18-year-old Jerry knew? What are the things that I wish that he had so that the process of him trying to find an internship, a job, a work-study job is going to be easier. And so for me, that's what Wonsulting means to me.
Did you always have that entrepreneurial spirit? So it sounds like you didn't really know about like the finance or like the consulting fields, which is actually very popular in like I feel like most colleges. Like,
Yeah,
at least
I mean, Trey, is that what you do? Because you're all decked out.
A little bit.
I can tell. All right. You got the Wall Street fit on, like
finance, a little bit of
quarter zip in 100-degree weather is crazy.
Hey man,
yeah,
you got to do it.
But yeah, no. Did you? So it sounds like you wanted to do business from the very start. Was it more like you knew that you just wanted to be a CEO in general, or did you already have an idea of a business like Wonsulting already in mind? I'm curious.
So in college, here was my 5-year plan. I was gonna do 2 years in business. Then I heard doing the MBA was incredible. And after that, I was gonna join a really big company and I'll rise through the ranks so that by the time I'm 40, I'll be CEO. And only then I can start inspiring the people who are like me to be like, all right, like I'm gonna start bringing up others.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my plan going into college, because that is sort of what was defined as success with everyone else around me. And then of course, as I went through freshman year, sophomore year, that's when I started learning about like consulting and like investment banking. And I kind of did stints in both of them before I realized I didn't want to live that life. And but I think for me, that's what my plan was. I was just like 2 year, and then I can start my career.
Do you still? I was just gonna say, do you still keep up with that friend who got into Goldman? Is she still there?
Bro, okay, let me tell you a story.
Okay. I love stories.
Okay, dude. Okay, so we're not. Okay, whatever. So this person, I later found out, their uncle was like the managing partner of Hong Kong Hong Kong investment banking, Goldman Sachs. Like they led all of investment banking in Hong Kong. And so when she was just like, hey, I just need an internship, it's like, done, say no more.
Oh man.
And what's even crazier is I have a bunch of my friends who are in the industry. Many of my friends are hiring managers. A lot of my friends are also recruiters or have worked with recruiters. And I would say about 20% of the hires that are made, anecdotally from what I hear, are made because they know the CEO, or that the CMO is like, hey, my nephew needs an internship. Let's put him through a process. And as a hiring manager, what are you going to do? You're going to go against the CMO and go, oh yeah, your nephew was shit.
No, you're cooked.
No, you're not,
You're
right?
cooked.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so I think for me, what's pretty interesting is that I still see this kind of happen in a really low key way. And like a lot of my friends will tell me because they don't have anyone else to tell. And I'm also the guy who's known for the job search stuff.
Right.
And so it's super interesting to see this happen. 20% was probably a really big figure, but it still sort of happens today.
I feel like 20% would make sense in like the finance industry. I feel like it's very industry dependent, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who would do this like consulting investment?
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
Who would wear quarter zips and 100-degree weather?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
But I mean, kind of back to the whole like business idea. I think being an entrepreneur, there's so many like risks that come to mind, like people
true.
judging and whatever. What were those conversations like with your family? I mean, coming from an immigrant family like as well. I mean, starting something new, something different.
Yeah.
Well, what did your brother say, or what were your parents thinking when you started?
I think when I quit my job, my parents were like, cool, you're gonna do this thing, but like, when are you gonna get a real job? And I remember they probably did that for the first year after I quit my job. And I think only it was at the point when we started to hire people and they were like, oh, so-and-so told me that like they saw on your Instagram that like you have a team of like 3 people now. Wait, how are you doing that? Like, what are you doing? And that's when they started to learn more. But the pivotal moment for me was my parents live in the LA area. And in the LA area, they have one Korean newspaper that every Korean American family reads. And there was a reporter that reached out to me being like, hey, I want to cover your story. And I was on the front page of that. And my mom cut it out and they put it on they like cut it out, they plastered it, they have it like all framed up and everything. And I think it was that point my parents realized like, oh shoot, like this guy's actually doing something. And then additionally, my cousin, one of my baby cousins who I haven't even met, saw one of my Instagram reels and was like, oh my gosh, like I want to work here. And so my aunt, talking about nepotism, my aunt was messaging my mom. My mom was like, hey, like once she's old enough, she got to work at your company, man. I'm like, nah, man, she's gonna have to do a resume, man.
No.
She's gonna have to apply, man. She's gonna have to network. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Sorry, but your reels are amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Before this, I actually scrolled to watch 30 of them. And the
Jesus.
beginning is You got it down. It's to a science. How did you even like get so good at that? Like, what is it?
Dude, social media is one of those things that humble the shit out of you.
Yeah.
For me, like, I'm really honored that you said that. But for me, I'm like, dude, we got to do better. Like, I feel like there's so much more for me to learn. And I actually feel like I look at so many other creators to be like, damn, I wish I could be like them or there. And so for me, I feel like honestly, I don't even know. Like, one of the things that we have seen, have you guys ever seen LC Signs? Tony, he goes,
No,
LC Signs. This guy's super big in China. This guy sells signs, but
wait, I think so. Yeah.
Right?
The controversial guy.
Guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love him.
And if you look through his reels long enough, you'll begin to see that there was a moment that his account only got like 10, 20, 50K views every reel. And then all of a sudden it 10x'd overnight. And from that point forward, he just kept killing it. The only variable that he changed in his video was his intro. He just stitched crazier and crazier things, became a little bit more controversial. 80, 90% of the video is always the same. It's always him trying to sell digital sign or physical LED signs to people. But the first 5 seconds of the video is what changes. And that's what, for me, I took that. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, so we need to really nail down the intros. And so that's what we put a lot of effort towards.
What was like the weirdest aspect or the weirdest element that you kind of noticed 10x someone's like views or just like increase their views a lot? Like, because I know that at Content Academy, you were talking about like a slight change in lighting, like increase your views by a lot. Was there like a certain element that you found really weird?
That was so crazy. So what Daniel's referencing is I had 2 of the exact same reels posted on trial reels, and the video was 99% same. The only 1% change that was different was I had a pile of yellow Oreos. I would move it around and I'd pull out a black Oreo. Versus we tested it against a sea of black Oreos and I pulled out a yellow one. One of those got 10x more. I can't remember which of those got 10x more, but everything else was exactly the same. We took the exact same clips, exact same script, just copied and pasted it. The only thing we did was change the intro. Crazy. But that, to me, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why that would make a difference in 10x views.
But now you know what to do.
The algorithms, man, you know?
Yeah, that must kind of punch your, I guess, idea that even you don't feel like you don't have this like to the science or like to the very atom. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I have noticed, or one of the things I've heard, is that the average span of average lifetime of a creator is about 3 years. And I think we talked about this, right? The first year is you're figuring everything out and you finally find something you're like, okay, like this is what I want to keep creating content about. The second year is you continue to create content and you put fire on that, fuel on that fire, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm blowing up. And the third year is when people are like, okay, Jerry, like, come on, like, I'm getting kind of bored of this. And then you essentially kind of fall off. Or you might innovate, go through that whole year 1, year 2 process again at the risk of getting 10, 20, 30K views, 80, 90% less views than what you were getting, in hopes that you'll find a new format that you like, that your audience will also find refreshing. So for me, one of the things I really, really, really pride myself on doing, and something I constantly do, is I spend 70-ish% of my content being tried and true, bread and butter, invest into that. But the 30% is what I'm going to constantly try something different. And that's why if you look through my content, my views will kind of fluctuate, but that's very much intentional because I am constantly testing.
You mentioned in college how you came up with a 5-year plan, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned how the average lifespan of a content creator is 3 years.
That's right.
So what's your like 5-year plan right now,
bro,
for being a content creator? I know you got some ideas cooking up.
5-year plans are the stupidest fucking thing. I swear. They're so, I think anyone who does a 5-year plan truly does not know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Every company, every college that does a 5-year plan will have a new 5-year plan 3 years later.
Okay.
I get, like, it happens all the time. And same thing for me. Like, I didn't even get my first part right. For me, I thought it was going to be 2 years in like consulting, banking, or whatever industry, then an MBA. Then I was going to go into some Fortune 100 company. But I was able to somehow skip all of that, go straight into Google, do my career, not do an MBA, and then sort of start my own business. Completely pivoted. Even when we started Wonsulting, we first started off doing workshops. And we would go to schools, organizations, student clubs, and go, hey guys, you guys just want us to talk to you about LinkedIn? They're like, yeah. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. We did it. In our first year, we did about 150. And we got paid. Actually, let me ask you guys, how much do you think we got paid for doing 150 workshops? Student organizations, universities. If you were to guess.
You're the consultant. You got the market sizing.
Let me organize my thought. Let me think.
150. Just throw out a guess.
6-7 K? 600, 500, 1,000. Let's go with 1,000.
$1,000 in total.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have said like 10K.
0. We did this completely for free.
150?
We fucking loved it. And I still love it, honestly.
Love of the game.
Yeah. We grinded. And what we did was every workshop that we did, we'd post about it on LinkedIn, tag the school, 3 more organizations would reach out. Say yes to all of them, post it on LinkedIn, 3 more would reach out, and so on and so forth. And you, after a year of doing this, you sort of have this like network effect of like, oh my God, we've done 150. And that was our first quote unquote business model of Wonsulting. And then eventually evolved into, had 4 stages ish of the business evolving. But for me, that's why for me, I don't believe in a 5-year plan. I think 5-year plans are stupid because it sort of locks you in. And if there's anything I've learned about starting a business or being a content creator or starting anything like a podcast, is that it is so easy for you to forecast what could go wrong. It's so easy for you to be like, wow, we spent thousands of dollars on a studio. We spent hundreds of hours editing, and for what? Like, what if it doesn't work out? But what I've learned in content and starting a business or starting anything, that it's extremely hard to forecast what could go right. You'll never know. Maybe a sponsor will reach out after watching this episode.
Please.
Right?
Hit us up.
I mean, honestly, that you said it how it is. I feel like a lot of times people put in so much work too, and that work doesn't even get shown up. They only see the surface level part, like the achievements. And again, your achievements go on and on.
Yeah.
Forbes 30 to
Oh,
30.
please. Oh,
Google,
brother.
I know you've heard it a lot.
Stop the glaze.
But
Damn.
But it is really impressive. But that's why we're curious, like, what's beneath that story? What's underneath that surface? What's that quieter layer that's been building up? Or like what we like to call, like, what's that subtext?
I think for me, it's really 3 things. And I think it came in phases. And so for me, I'd say the first 2 years of running the business, and we've been in the business for about 5 years. The first 2 years of business is me quietly forecasting what my net worth would have been if I stayed in corporate. Because when we quit our jobs, we were paying ourselves maybe like 40K-ish just for us to barely stay alive and for us to just pay our rent and eat food. But at Google, when I left, I was making 200K a year. And so for someone who comes from a low income background, from family who relies on his support, having almost like an 80% decrease in your income is huge. And for me, I kept thinking to myself, well, shoot, had I stayed at corporate this year, I would have been here, but really I'm here. Damn, that fucking sucks. And for me, I think the second thing was really the pressure of like, oh my gosh, I'm really sort of putting myself out there. I'm making all this content, putting myself on LinkedIn. All my directors, all my VPs, all my managers, everyone I've worked with they're literally seeing me on LinkedIn, and they would come up to me in the office when I was working and be like, hey, how's my LinkedIn guy doing? You know, I'm like, oh, brother. Oh, God. And so for me, I think that's what happened in the first 2 years. The next 2 years came, and that's where we saw a lot of growth. We're, oh my God, social media is doing well. Oh my gosh. But for me, I think what came out of that was a lot of self-doubt, because there were a lot of people who loved us. There's also a lot of people who were like, who the fuck are you guys? You guys are 26 years old, 27 years old, and you guys haven't worked a day in recruiting. How the fuck can you guys help anyone find a job, right? And so there was a lot of criticism, and for us, we were like, oh my gosh, wait, is there validity to what they're saying? Like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of self-doubt there, I think. And I think for me now, at this point, I think the thing I'm really thinking about and struggling with is really trying to figure out, like, oh my gosh, am I equipped with the skill sets for us to grow this company where it's at today? We just brought in a new head of revenue, and this dude is absolutely freaking cracked. And he makes me feel like, oh my God, like, dude, I feel like I haven't been running the business well at all. Like, shit, then like, should I just stick to content then and just have someone else run the business? And so for me, I think there's a lot of doubt that comes up for me. And I think a lot of that stems from me growing up in the household that I did. And also in the environment that I came from.
Yeah, I think that self-confidence is definitely something that sways over time, like for all entrepreneurs. I'm curious, like, what is that one anchor for you that kind of keeps, if you're at a state right now where you feel yourself having a lot more confidence now compared to back
Yeah, you
then.
caught me on a good day.
Yeah. What would that anchor be? What kind of keeps you grounded that like I am the right person to kind of like, keep this company going?
I think if there's anything that I've learned in running a business and seeing in the past 6-ish years that we've been in the business, we've seen companies raise 4, 5, 6, $10 million and have gone to zero, all in our space. We've seen content creators, 5 million followers, no longer post today. If there's anything that I've learned, it is truly a marathon. It is a game of who can truly last longest. And because of that, I have just built up the confidence that we will keep going until we accomplish our mission. And there will be nothing that stops us. Sure, there's going to be economic downturn. Sure, there's going to be recessions, but there's also going to be upsides as well. And for me, I feel like what keeps me going is that there's truly nothing else I'd rather be doing. There's no other job, no other space that I'd rather be in than what we're currently doing today. And for me, I think a lot of that comes from, well, for me, I want to be the solution that I wish I had. Truly. Like that is what drives me every single day through the hardest days. And if I didn't have that, if I was freaking slinging like ads or if I was like doing B2B payments processing, right? Like I would not give a shit about that.
B2B SaaS.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to say one more thing because there was a quote from Ryan Holiday. I don't know if you know him, but he said something that was very similar to a line that you said on LinkedIn, which is that it's not ambition or skill that will set you apart. It's your sanity. And you said something very similar, which is, I think you said protect your energy and protect your sanity.
Yep.
I'm curious, can you just unpack that, like what that means and like because I think that really relates to what you mean by the marathon. It all comes down to the marathon. So I'm curious.
Dude, I think running a business, running a startup truly will, the way I describe it, it's like taking drugs. Like you will have the highest highs and like the lowest freaking lows, and it just swings constantly. And I think for so many people, I can see how exhausting it can be because after being punched constantly, like your revenue's going down, people, all you're getting are hate DMs and like, oh my gosh, your content isn't hitting anymore. You're thinking like, dude, like I've fallen off. Like this is it. Like this is like I'm cloaked. Like I'm done. I think for me, I think that's what has driven me is just being in the game long enough such that I realize that it is a true marathon. And the only thing that truly will drive someone to run in a marathon is your energy.
Would you say that's kind of, I mean, I always love to ask people this because I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
Daniel might call it the secret sauce. I like to call it the superpower. What's that X factor that you think like really separates? Is that energy? Is it the discipline? What's something that's really unique to just you that kind of just embodies your success?
I think I am working on a problem so deeply personal to me and that I have struggled with for 6, 7, 8 years of my life that I will be the one to solve this, truly. That I envision a world where there's equity amongst job seekers, that where if you are a job seeker and you have the right skills, you will be on the same playing field as someone who came from Harvard. And sure, the employer can then look at the education and weight those differently, but that's something that we can't change as what employers want. But what we can change is at least bringing everyone up to the same playing field and letting their experiences, the qualifications speak for themselves. And even if they feel stuck in their job search, giving them a roadmap for them to understand, I'm here today. These are the 3 steps I need to take for me to get to the next career step that I want. It is such a deep personal problem for me that I truly don't believe that any of our competitors who have raised $5, $10, $50 million will ever give as much care and energy towards it than we will. And sure, they might have a lot more resources than we do, but we will absolutely outrun them in this marathon.
Dang, you convinced me.
Hey, so give me some money, boys. Hey, we're raising, man. No, I'm just kidding.
On wood. That's crazy.
Something that I'm curious about, in order to get to that goal, is there something short term that you guys are thinking about? Like, what's the next step for you guys?
Next step for us, I think in three buckets. One is, of course, our product. We are super close, maybe about a month away from launching our first version of Job Search Plan. Job Search Plan is going to be the first data-driven platform will help you understand where you should focus on your job search. So for you, Daniel, should you be working on your resume or applying to jobs, or do you even not know what type of job titles you should be going for? For you, Trey, maybe it's you have all that figured out and all you need to focus on is interviewing. And you should just stop working on your resume, stop thinking about the type of jobs that you want, keep the funnel going, and so on and so forth. Or maybe for me, all my shit sucks on paper, so I need to focus on networking, and that's all I should be focusing on. I think today, what's so interesting to me is that every business will die on a hill by saying, oh, we got to do data-driven decision-making. We got to analyze this, look at industry trends, whatever, before we make a decision. Well, why can't you do the same thing on job search? Truly, it absolutely made no sense to me. It's something that was drilled to me in corporate, but as I thought about the job search, I'm like, wait, there's absolute way to structure this in a data-driven way to help you understand where you should focus on your problem. We will be the first company to use data to help you identify where you're stuck, help you figure out exactly what to do to get you unstuck and help you get that job. That is a thesis behind what we're building. And if we can prove out this thesis, then it'll make every other job search application obsolete is our hypothesis.
So cool.
Man, why didn't I have this when I was recruiting? No,
bro, you don't need it, man. Look at you. You're freaking in consulting. Look at this guy.
No, but it's so inspiring. It's so great to hear that. And the thing that I like about what I'm hearing is you guys are always chasing the problem regardless of the success that you're having. But I kind of want to go back to that initial success. Did you have a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I've made it. I finally like lived to the expectation of what I wanted to do. And did you get to like celebrate with your family, with your siblings? Or like what did you have that, man, I made it moment?
You know what's so interesting is I feel like as an Asian American immigrant, I feel like success is very much a hedonic treadmill. I feel like the goalpost always moves. It's, oh my gosh, let me get that first internship. And it's, okay, well, what's the next thing? And what's this next thing? What's this next thing? What's this next thing? And so it's really humbling and also honestly awesome to hear you guys tell me all, like, honestly glaze all over me. But like for me, like I don't ever view any of that. Like I truly don't look at any of those accomplishments. And I feel like to a fault where I think I don't talk about myself enough of the things that I do accomplish. And so for me now, I'm trying to make a much more active effort to celebrate a lot of those accomplishments. For example, I just hit 1.5 mil on Instagram. Ooh,
there we go.
Let's go.
It's like, man,
it's a lot more than me. It's crazy.
But it's small things like that I feel like I'm trying to get better at, but it's something that I'm trying to unlearn from my childhood of like, hey, good job, you did this. Now let's focus on the next thing. And I think to a certain extent, I think it has gotten me to where I am today because it always led me to focus on what's next. But I think for me as a person and for me to just be a good human being, I think I haven't been able to celebrate my successes enough. And so something I'm working on, but yeah.
What are some of those practical things that you are trying to do now for those grateful moments or like whenever you're trying to appreciate those moments more? Because I think that a topic that me and Trey talk about like endlessly is this idea of ambition versus gratitude, or like he calls it curiosity versus gratitude. Sometimes I kind of think that these two things are sometimes yin and yang, but sometimes like kind of opposite forces. But I'm curious, like what are some practical things that you try to do to, appreciate those moments more, and maybe your thoughts on that topic?
Yes. And I also thought of an answer to your previous question too. So I'll answer your question and
Sure.
I'll go back. So every year I set goals, 1 or 2 goals across each of these 4 buckets: financial, personal, professional, and job. Those are 4 categories of goals that I set. And each of those categories, I'll have 1 or 2 goals. And so financial, obviously makes sense. Personal, anything completely unrelated. So for me, it's I take on a new hobby every 3 to 4 months.
Oh, it's so cool. What's your favorite hobby you've taken on?
My favorite hobby has been scuba diving. But in the past 2 years, I've done stand-up comedy. I
can see it.
Yep.
I can see it.
Because I'm a clown, man.
No, stand-up comedy's, I'm jealous.
Yeah, stand-up comedy's sick. I did stand-up comedy. I did improv. And each of these I take like 2-3 month classes.
Oh, wow.
I've tried dancing. I've done cooking, scuba diving,
So cool.
and pickleball. Those are the 6 hobbies that I've taken over the past 2 years. And the next hobby I'm taking is I'm going to take a class on colors and design because that's something I've always been really bad at. So that's a personal category for me. Professional is something that elevates you as a in your career, but that's not directly tied to your job. So for example, it might be to start a podcast. For me, I have goals for each of my social media of how many followers I want to hit. And then job related, it's anything related to your job. So for us, we have a certain revenue target and also a roadmap that we want to hit. And so that's how I keep myself accountable to kind of the ambitions that I have, but also when I cross off each of those moments that I know and I have a trigger for myself to celebrate.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's so impressive. You seem very disciplined. Also, please drop the hobby guide. Like I would love that. I mean, I want to learn stand up if I could or improv. It seems so sick.
So the whole hobby thing actually came from a mentor that I had.
Okay.
Back when I was a sophomore, back when I was interning as a sophomore. When I was interning as a sophomore, I met this guy. His name was Lawton. And he was maybe about 75 years old and he was still working. And I remember I met him and we were paired up because of this like mentor intern matching thing. And he told me for the past 40 years of his life, he's taken on a new hobby every 6 months. So I threw out random things. I'm like, so have you like knitted before? He's like, yep, I know how to knit. What about kiteboarding? Yep. Bird watching. Yep. And so on and so forth.
Damn.
And so I think that's just such a cool thing to have where you can look back on your life and be like, I truly have tried it all.
That's dad lore.
Like, what's that?
That's dad lore.
Dad lore. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's dad lore.
Like, and I want to be able to look back at my life and be like, yeah, if I want to learn how to become a better singer. Oh, I also took singing classes as well. If I want to be a good singer, this is exactly what I would do. If I want to be a better stand-up comic, this is what I would do. Dancing, this is what and so on and so forth. And so for me, I think it's also just I've been able to develop a deeper appreciation for those arts. I loved going to stand-up comedy. And so now when I go, I can be like, dude, that was so well placed. Like that punchline was so well placed. Or like that callback was insane.
I gotta ask, what's the best joke you've heard? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Best joke I've heard? Oh my gosh.
You can improvise if you want.
Oh,
I don't know if you have. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, so in my stand-up comedy class, at the end of the 8 weeks, you had to do a live performance. You had a 3-minute bit and you had to do it in front of 200 people.
Oh, I thought it was like with the class.
No, in front of 200 people.
Oh, hell no.
Everyone invited their friends, family, and we booked out the entire place. Crazy. It was at Gotham Comedy Club. You guys ever been? It's freaking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a comic there.
Oh my gosh.
Dang.
Insane.
Yeah, you should have sent us the date.
But one of my bits, my stand-up bit starts off as, I've always grown up as a good Asian boy. Good grades, good job, good school, but I always get offered drugs.
Really?
That's so much potential for humor, man.
Yeah.
that backstory.
And so that's how my stand-up bit goes, and I basically tell the story of how I was almost kidnapped and got offered drugs in Miami.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
you're actually a really great storyteller too.
Thank you.
Yeah, the art of communication, you got it mastered.
Yeah, I guess like just one more question about the hobby thing. Like, since it seems like you have done like a good bit of hobbies now, what is like that one hobby that you would stick with if you had more time?
I think I would do more of singing. I love singing because you could just do it right there, right then and there. And I think it's such a cool thing because it truly just unites everyone. Like music is one of those things that just goes across languages, countries, nations. And so for me, that's one thing I would spend more time doing. I don't do it because it just takes up so much time, and it's like working out. Like you have to stretch and exercise your vocal strings, and like you have to do your chords, and it's just not something I just can prioritize right now. But if I did have the time, I would do it.
You must be a big karaoke guy then.
Dude, I love karaoke.
Man.
The rule of
love
karaoke,
too.
it's not about singing. It's about the performance.
Really?
Dude.
The delivery.
Yeah, the delivery. It's all about it. Getting the group hyped up. That's what it's about.
Next time you're going karaoke, please let us know.
Yeah, that's right.
Daniel's a big karaoke
I'm down.
guy.
I'm a big karaoke guy, man.
Yes, of course. You're Korean, right?
Yeah.
It goes in your blood, my guy.
Yeah, I feel like I could totally agree with because I have a playlist called In the Whip or In the Car.
In the
playlist where I only have like songs. Like I would much prefer having a song in the car where everybody knows the lyrics rather than like my personal favorite song.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all about the vibes, man.
That's right. It's all about it.
Yeah.
But I hate that one guy who's just like, nah, I'm not gonna sing. Okay, fine. And
then
they sing. Oh my God, bro. I will never invite you to go karaoke ever again. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, you'll never have that issue with me. I'm definitely on the opposite end of the spectrum. Oh man. You seem very just like curious in general of like learning. Like whether that's like professional, hobby wise, where does that come from? Like what kind of who was kind of like your role model? Was it a family member you talked about, a mentor? What does that even come from?
I think for me, it came from my brother because my brother was someone who was so curious about the world. He grew up wanting to really be really good at drawing and got really into planes. And so then he started studying about like how planes are made, how they fly. And then I sort of grew up watching him be curious and learn it. What's really cool is that he went to UCLA and his first job was being a mechanical engineer at Boeing. And he got to work on the actual Boeing planes, which was really cool. And so for me, I think it's just seeing my brother just be so curious. Oh my gosh. I remember growing up, I would play so much games, like truly to the point where it was really bad. I would wake up at Saturday, 9 a.m. I'd play probably until 10 p.m. and I'd do that on the weekends. During school nights, I'd come home, hop on MapleStory, 3 p.m., 10 p.m., and then do my homework from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Horrible sleep. It's probably why I'm short. And honestly, so bad. And so my parents, when we were growing up and we were developing this habit, they tried to stop us. And so what they would do is they would take our modem or they would put a password on the computer, right? But what my brother found out, and this was maybe when he was in 6th grade and I was in 3rd grade, is that back in like Windows 10 or something, I don't even know if you guys, or Windows XP. Are you guys around?
That's back in the day.
You guys weren't even alive back then.
You're not on status yet.
Windows XP, there's a way for you to log into the bootloader and in the BIOS, and there's a way for you to log in as admin, take the password off. And so we got to log in, and then when we heard our parents park their car in the garage, we'd put it back on, and then we turn off. They'd feel the computer, be like, how the fuck did these guys get, like, did they just have the computer on or something? And we'd just be like, nah, we didn't do shit, you know?
This sounds like something straight from the Diary of the Wimpy Kid.
That's so good.
So, but it's a lot of that I feel like I learned. And for me, I was just like, that's so cool that he figured that out somehow. Yeah, so shout out to John.
Yeah, shout out to John. Where's he at right now? Is he still at Boeing?
He's still at Boeing.
Cool.
He just had his first child about a year
cool.
and a half ago. And yeah, Sabrina's the cutest kid I've ever seen.
Oh, it's amazing.
That's awesome. What's a version of you that almost existed? So you can kind of interpret that as if Wonsulting never happened, who would you be? Or like, what would you be doing right now?
I can think of 2 paths. One is in high school. I was on an amateur professional team for a game called Dota.
So you were good at gaming.
Dude, I'm cracked at Dota.
Oh my
Well, not
gosh.
anymore, but I used to be. And so we would be on an amateur team. I remember we got our first sponsor, but our sponsor wouldn't pay us unless we won a tournament. And so me and my 4 buddies, we tried, and we would get close. We'd place like 5th out of like 20 teams. But like the 5 teams who won were competitive. Like these guys were the ones who won like the world championships. And so I remember we would look back on our replays and go, those 4 mistakes cost us the game. But it's cool to be able to think back and go, if we had made 4 decisions in that game, we would have won. And so I stopped playing because I had college applications, but there's another world where I would have been a professional gamer.
No way.
I really wanted to stream on Justin.tv. Do you guys know what Justin.tv is?
I think I've heard of it, but I'm not
You're
crazy
so
familiar.
young. Oh my God.
Wait, what is Justin.tv?
Justin.tv. So you guys know the founder of Twitch, Justin
Justin
Khan?
Khan. Yeah.
So Justin, before Twitch was called Twitch, it was called Justin.tv.
No way.
I didn't know that.
That was one of the first live streaming platforms that got big in the US. And only once I focused on gaming, that's when it became Twitch. And so on Justin.tv, I wanted to be a streamer. But guess what? My home internet was too fucking slow.
No, I hate that shit.
The
But
lag.
there's another world where I was a streamer, and dude, I don't know. I was a rager, bro. I cursed the fuck out of people.
How many keyboards did you break?
Dude, I would
Have
curse.
an iconic crash out moment. I mean, I don't know if you remember any, like
Crazy
Yeah,
question.
this is I don't know. But dude, I remember I would talk so much shit, man. It was so bad. And so yeah, so therefore I feel like I would have really blown up because there's this kid who's like 16 years old, weighs 112 pounds, just cursing the shit out of people, and is decent at gaming. So I feel like there's another in that world I would have been a Twitch streamer. So that's pivotal point number 1. Pivotal point number 2 is if Wonsulting never started. If that never started, I probably would have just kept on the corporate route. I probably would have stayed at my company I left, company I joined after Google, Lucid, for about a year or 2. I'd probably boomerang back to another FANG company, and then probably just keep climbing up. And by now, I would have hoped I'm really high up, maybe a director, hopefully. And if not, then I would have joined another company that would have gave me that position.
So you're telling us that if the house Wi-Fi was a little better, Jerry Lee would be a professional
Bro, I could have been
gamer.
Ninja, man. I could have been the Asian Ninja.
Maybe there might need to be a collaboration.
Oh, man.
I think it's crazy how like one moment, one experience, one day can just like shift your whole world. I think it's insane. And that's why like my next question is like, what's that one day you wish you could just like relive? And it doesn't have to be for Wonsulting. It could be literally for anything in general. It could just be like an iconic day.
Yeah.
The memory that I cherish the most is the one that I felt the most amount of joy in such a short amount of time. Like my brain has never fit so much dopamine in such a short amount of time. And so growing up, humble beginnings. We didn't have much and we barely scraped by. We were on food stamps. And so one of the things I was a super nerd on was I geeked out hard on like Android devices, rooting them and like optimizing them and changing all the CPU power and all that stuff, right? And I remember when Google came out with the Nexus, it was the first Android Pixel that came out, or Android tablet that came out. And I was like, dude, I would love that, but like there's no way I could save up like $150 to get it. There's no way. But then I would watch all the reviews and stuff. And at the time, I think it's maybe about sophomore year in high school, my brother was maybe a freshman in college. And so because my brother was a freshman in college, he had student grants, financial aid. And so that gave him a little bit of money. And plus he was doing work study. And so therefore he had a little bit of disposable income. When my birthday came around, I remember I was taking a nap on like a Saturday and my brother just woke me up being like, Jerry. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And then he shoved the tablet in my face being like, hey, I pulled some of my like work study money. I put aside some work study money and I got you this for your birthday. I was like, oh my. And so I truly thought I was dreaming. Like I have never felt a more lucid moment in my life. I still have that tablet today, actually. Something that I kept as I've moved 8-9 apartments throughout my past 10 years. And it's something I keep very dear to me. Just something that just reminds me of family, something that reminds me of my background, where I came from. But yeah, that's a moment that means so much to me and something I wish I could relive.
That's amazing.
I feel like sometimes humble backgrounds is like really a gift because like moments like that, like I feel like a lot of people won't be able to make that the most memorable experience to them, or like something that gives them a lot of dopamine depending on which background they come from.
That's true.
So I feel like, yeah, that's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Warms my heart, man.
Yeah.
But one more question that we wanted to ask for this section is, what's like a notes app idea, or just like an idea that's kind of rotting in your notes, or just like an organization app that you have that you haven't shared publicly yet?
Organization app. Wait, what do you mean?
So like, I mean, I think what Daniel's saying is like maybe it's a business idea, a random hot take that's just like in your notes app, or maybe it's like in your phone, you just haven't set it out in the world. Do you have like a hot take, business idea?
Yes.
Project?
So when Wonsulting was first starting, I was doing two things at the side. I was writing about career stuff on LinkedIn, and that was something I'm super passionate about. And at the same time, I was actually writing Medium articles about personal finance. I partnered with someone who was very passionate about personal finance at Google. And we were actually doing workshops at Google specifically for personal finance, educating Googlers on how to manage their money. And what we had put together was sort of a proposal for the city of Santa Clara, which is where we lived. And we were like, we want to make these changes to the education system. A hot take that I have is that I believe financial institutions purposefully make the concept of personal finance super hard because it is extremely lucrative for them.
Yes, I agree. I think you're right, Loki. Wait, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's passionate.
Yeah. And so as a result, I think that a lot of people will try to provide solutions downstream of the people who are poorly educated or don't have any education on how to manage money. What solutions can I give to help you better manage that? Maybe I'll provide a solution for you so you don't even have to think about it. And therefore I'll be able to take a percentage of your portfolio or whatever versus solving it at the root. To me, solving it at the root comes in the form of how do you incorporate this into the school education system? If I had unlimited time, this is something I would push hard for. I'd work with like the best financial advisors. I'd work with the people who really help educate me on personal finance, what it means for me, how to live a life within your and below your means, also save and invest for the future. Something I feel like is a simple in principle, but very hard to understand because of all the jargon out there.
100% agree. I'm super passionate about financial literacy, and we're not looking for band-aids. We have to rewrite the system. I totally agree with what you're saying. It's going to take a while, but
let us in on some of the sauce. Like what did you learn from some of your financial advisors?
Oh, so super simple. One, don't ever use a financial advisor.
Okay, I take it back.
Don't ever use a financial advisor. Dude, the amount of money that an average financial advisor will take from you is just stupid. It's just never worth it. 90% of the time, it's not worth it. Second, for the average Joe person, you should spend just as much time trying to increase your income to also understanding your expenses. I think a lot of people forget that building wealth comes from two variables: income generation and expense management. People often assume that it's just the former. It's just the income generation part, right? And I think the third thing is investing super simply. Investing into index funds, super stable, super simple. It's going to make you rich in the long term, and forgetting the noise. All the stuff about this crypto, NFT, and all this stupid bullshit. Like, so many of my friends are like, dude, Jerry, man, I made fucking like 300% on XRP, bro. Like, dude, let's get on the. Is this fucker, huh? Fuck this guy, man.
You got me. No, I'm just messing around. I don't even know what XRP is.
Yeah, sure.
No.
But for me, I've been able to really not think about any of that stuff, because every additional second that I am thinking about, I could potentially be using thinking about money, like crypto or whatever. I want to be spending that time building my business, creating social media content, or doing something else. I am of the firm believer that you should either be risky with your money or your time. So either with your career or your time. Choose one or the other. Define your risk tolerance for one of them and just go. And that's how you'll be wealthy.
Gotcha.
Across
the financial.
I'll get off the crypto as well.
No, I mean, it's okay. Like, having some risk exposure is okay, especially if you're younger. Like, dude, like if you lose 10% of your portfolio, whatever, but that shit could balloon like crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. You have to be quick with it. I don't even know if I'm gonna continue, but
yeah, you have to like track it too, and like all that time you
So
could be thinking
stressful.
like, dude, wait, couldn't I be using that time to like build a business or like?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know.
Our last section, speaking of like being quick, it's called our lightning round. So I'm gonna give you a question, give you about 10 seconds to think about it. And you got to answer in 10 seconds.
Cool.
So it's pretty hard. First question. It's my iconic. It's my favorite question.
Loves this one.
7 days, a full camera crew, no rules, unlimited budget, and I ask you to make a documentary. What are you doing it on?
Shit, I know exactly what I would do.
Gosh,
what I would do is, okay, this is no ethics, all right? No ethics involved. What I would do is I would set up a lab environment. I would put 40 newborns, infants there. I'd set up all the protocols and stuff so that they're fed and they're taken care of or whatever, but they would have no external human interaction. I want to see them grow up. What happens? What happens?
The nature nurture like topic.
Yeah. Extremely unethical. Probably never going to happen. But if ethics was not a concern, this is something I'd be curious about, honestly. Like,
Mr. Beast, if you're listening.
That's right.
A little collaboration.
Would you have a prediction on like what you think would happen?
I am a firm believer that it's like 90% nurture and 10% nature.
Same.
That's why I'm just so curious.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Our next question is also, this is something that I heard you say during Content Academy. You were talking about the idea of burnout and how it's kind of similar to this analogy of like using a battery. Like the more you work or the more confused or lost you feel, you'll eventually run out of juice. Everybody should have those activities that they know about themselves would quickly and swiftly recover that battery.
Yes.
What's that activity for you?
3 things. 1, friends, family, is number one. 2, trying a new hobby, going through that phase of not knowing anything, learning about like, oh my gosh, oh wait, that's how I do it. Gives me so much fulfillment. And 3, dude, I love playing Mobile Legends. Mobile Legends is like a League of Legends, but on your phone. It's like, and I also love playing chess.
Chess. Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit. Yep.
There we go.
Okay. Dang, my next question was literally going to be about what's your favorite game. Did you have a question? I'm trying to think.
Well, I was gonna say, have you ever played League? Like, cause I'm personally a League player. I probably should not say that in public, but yeah, I'm a big League player. Did you play League at all?
Hot take. I think League of Legends is a shittier Dota. It requires almost no skill. Dota requires so much more skill. There's creep blocking, there's denying, there's pathing, there's juking, there's so much more. Dude, I could go hard on this.
Really?
Dude.
League is so tough.
Dude.
Or it's like it's hard. It's hard to play.
Dota, if you think League is hard, you will never dude, Dota will just be it's just another beast.
Really?
It's just crazy.
All right, so I'm not getting into that.
I got one random question that just came to mind. 5 or 10 years in the future, what do you think is going to be the top 3 most underrated skills that are going to separate the 10% from the 90%?
I think the first skill for sure is being able to articulate your thoughts. Because of how reliant this entire world is being on AI, it is incredibly important that you just know what you want, how you want someone to do it. The better that someone's able to articulate their thoughts, better you're able to use AI to do your work. The second thing is I think understanding how, similar to how people understood how Google search works, right? Anytime you want to understand what, like, does this product work? Everyone on Google knows that you'll be like, does a skin mask work to improve complexion? Reddit reviews, right? You'll look at Reddit and that's what you know. But for someone who knows nothing about Google, you'll just type it in, see the company page, look at all their 5-star reviews and go, oh, it must be good, right? Without realizing that it's freaking Ponzi scheme, you know? Yeah. So I think in a similar way, I think AI will come with a similar set of skills. And I think you just have to understand what the input and outputs are going to be. And I think the third thing, and I think this is super important, is I think as we become less reliant on things, on our skills, the only thing that you can truly do to differentiate yourself is just being a good human being, being super personable. And I think as people think that it's all about output, it truly is about how you go about things. I think it's gonna be much more important than what you actually get done.
Gotcha. Another question that I had regarding, what Wonsulting focuses on within the job search vertical. What is a traditional piece of advice that every student gets told or every job searcher gets told that you think is just terrible?
Dude,
He's like, 5 or 6 is about to come to mind.
Dude, I think one thing for sure is that everyone always says, tailor your resume to the job description. I think is the stupidest fucking piece of advice I've ever heard. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The reason why is because everyone knows that even if you're unemployed, like you have all the time in the world, right? You're not going to spend 40 hours tailoring your resume to every single job. You're not going to spend 40 hours preparing and job searching. You're just not. What you're probably going to do is spend an hour or 2 on LinkedIn, edit your resume 5 times, apply to 5 jobs and sign off and be like pat myself on the back. What you truly should be doing is truly knowing what is that one job title that you want to go for. Is it strategy consultant? Is it marketing manager? Is it whatever? If you can understand that job title, reflect your resume, have your resume truly reflect marketing manager, strategy consultant, whatever, then you should be okay applying to all of marketing manager roles, strategy consultant roles, and so on and so forth. I think a lot of people, and to me, it's all about ROI, right? There's nothing that you can materially put from a tailored resume from a strategy consultant to a strategy consultant role at McKinsey. That'll materially change the chances of you getting an interview. At a certain point, you have a huge point of diminishing returns. So therefore, you have to find that optimal point of what is the best ROI for the time that I'm going to invest. To me, tailoring to a job title, then applying and networking rather than, okay, I found this job description. Let me edit it. Okay, add in these four words. Because truly, like, what are those 4 words truly going to get you the interview that you otherwise would not have gotten? Dude, recruiters are only looking at that shit for 6 seconds.
I saw that on your Instagram reel. You made an Instagram reel about that recently.
Yeah,
actually.
that's right.
That's
Yep.
sick.
Fuck, I'm guilty of that though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But
That's a good point.
yeah, I just wanted to ask. So I guess one more question
Yeah.
from lightning round. I'm always curious about what successful people like you have for habits, because I think that habits are a very important aspect of what actually determines like the actions and the actual tangible things that we get done. So if you had to bet your entire life on one habit, what would that be?
Did we stump him?
Damn, habit.
Don't worry, you got 2 seconds left. No, I'm just- Take your time.
A habit. That's so interesting. I'm just sound so fucking generic. The only habit that comes to mind for me is just showing up, pressing login, no matter how you feel. I think that has been for me the biggest thing that I've learned is that there'll be extremely hard days, and on those days, I still will log on. I'll still do my meetings. I'll still provide my team support. I'll still post content, even if I'm not feeling like it. And I think for me, that level of consistency, I think to me, it's consistency over ability. And if you can just be as consistent as fuck, that is what's going to get you far. I think that's just what I've done.
Hot take. I think that generic quotes or generic advice is the ones that are the most important because they're generic for a reason.
That's true.
Yeah, I feel
If
like
it isn't broke, don't fix it.
exactly.
And that's another
pretty generic.
quote.
Yeah, everybody just needs to be reminded more than they need to be taught. So I think that's
true.
So I think that's good advice for everybody.
That's true.
So thanks for sharing.
Mm.
So Caden Ginting, he left a question for you, or just the next guest, and I think it's perfect for you actually. What's like just the most controversial take that you would be willing to share in public?
Controversial take, huh?
And it can be about anything. Maybe it can be like coming from the perspective of like a poor immigrant Korean family. It can be absolutely anything.
I don't know if it's controversial, but I am of the firm believer that people who come from more humble backgrounds, who don't have as much financial means, don't make bad decisions. They just make the best decisions out of the decisions that they think that they have. And so when people look at certain communities or certain income classes and go, why the hell would they do that? Why the hell would they drop out of school to go support? Like, dude, you've really shot yourself in the foot. Why would you go turn to, like selling drugs or whatever? Like, it's not that they didn't make a bad decision. They just made the best decision out of the 4 or 5 decisions that they thought that they had. They truly just don't know any better. I think for me, as I've gone through the waves of my career and my upbringings, that's truly just how I felt. It's just that you just don't know about the resources. You just don't know about the help that you can get. You don't know about the other paths that you can take. So for me, I think that's one of the controversial takes that I have, is that I think that people don't make bad decisions. I think people just make the best things, best one out of the ones that they think they have.
I totally agree. I literally live by the philosophy that like there's 3 things. It's people either don't have the resources, they don't know the process, or they don't have the values. So it's one of those 3. And I think like not knowing the process or even like the resources is like it's sad, but hopefully, I mean, what you're doing with Wonsulting can kind of combat that as well, and hopefully give people the opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I think that correlates really well with what Wonsulting is like for democratizing the job search for everybody, no matter the background.
Yeah,
that makes sense. If this whole episode was condensed to a single notification on somebody's lock screen, what would you want it to say?
Follow Jerry J. Schlee on Instagram, baby. Come on.
Well, there we go.
Come on.
That's good. Okay.
Follow Jerry J. Schlee on Instagram, baby.
That's good. Just hit 1.5, right?
That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
Come on, let's go.
perfect.
Are we doing anything to celebrate? Like, what's the plan for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, so because I just turned 30 this year,
Congrats.
I am planning to go to 7 continents this calendar year. So this year I've been to Europe, I've been to Africa, and I've been to North America.
So cool.
What's next?
Going to Asia and Australia. And then afterwards in December or November, I'm going to go to South America and Antarctica.
No planning or anything?
I planned it a couple months out. Antarctica, I definitely should plan ASAP. And then Australia, Asia, there's only one detail I'm waiting to finalize before I book.
Okay.
Cool.
That's
Well,
so
I'm looking forward to seeing how it is and touching
Yeah.
base later on. But thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah,
and,
and,
course.
and just one last thing, where can people find you in case like they're not one of the 1.5 million people not following you already? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Jerry JH Lee, or you can find my company, Wonsulting. That's consulting, but with a W.
Awesome.
That's
Jerry,
perfect.
thanks again for hopping on the pod. Really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Thanks for having me, guys.